All right, we are rapidly approaching the halfway point of the NHL season as we get closer to the ending of the 2023 portion of the current hockey season. So it's time to take a look at how the local teams are doing thus far. And we're going to do it with my guy, Jonny Lazarus of VSIN, who joins me now. Johnny, long time no see. How's it going?
I'm good, Dexter. Hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and it's great to be back on here with you talking a little Rangers, Devils, and even Islanders.
Yeah, we're going to do all that. Great to be back on with you as well, too. And I had a pretty good holiday season. Can't complain. Johnny, let's start with the Rangers, who are 40% through the season. They have a record of 23-8-1, second most points in the league. Are the Blue Shirts a team to beat in the Eastern Conference or perhaps the entire league?
I wouldn't say the Rangers are the team to beat in the whole league. I'd still put the Vegas Golden Knights, defending Stanley Cup champions, at that top tier. I think they're so elite, top to bottom, just the way they do things over there in Vegas. But as far as the Eastern Conference goes, I'd say for sure the Rangers are the team to beat. I think the biggest thing for the Rangers right now is just finding consistency. They've shown a ton of resilience throughout the year. They've had some games where they look really strong after, what's maybe not so good of a performance, and I think it's great that they're able to respond in that way. But the Rangers have to find those strong 60-minute efforts the entire season. It's great that they beat good teams. They've shown some weak games against some weaker opponents. So I think to consider the Rangers the team to beat in the league, they're going to have to clean that up a little bit. But as far as the Eastern Conference goes, they're so well coached. Their structure is amazing. They've got a ton of talent. They play so well just together, cohesively as a group. So I think that makes them a team to beat in the East. But as far as the whole league goes, the Vegas Golden Knights to me are still the team to beat.
All right, going with Vegas as the team to beat in the league, but Rangers in a good spot as a team to beat in the East. But when you look at the Blue Shirts, Johnny, Artemi Panarin, he's had a strong season thus far. Is he the Rangers MVP, and should he get consideration for the Hart Trophy this season?
I think Artemi Panarin is without a doubt the Rangers MVP this year. He's been absolutely unbelievable, and I know he had that incredible point streak to start the year, but if you look at his production throughout the entire season, there's only been 6 games this year where he hasn't recorded a point. So Panarin has been night in, night out the Rangers' most important player, their best player, and he's also one of my favorite people just to talk to as far as athletes go in general. He's always so happy, smiling around the rink, and it's really good to see because last year he faced a ton of criticism after a tough first round against the Devils. So it's good to see Artemi Panarin is enjoying himself, playing well, and just overall making a huge impact on this team. But as far as the Hart Trophy goes for the entire league, I don't know if he's the lead in that race. Another couple of names that stand out are David Pastrnak, who's got the same amount of point production as Panarin, doing it on a Boston Bruins team that didn't have as high expectations as they did last year after their record-setting season last year. Another name that stands out is Nathan MacKinnon in Colorado, who's been lights out this year. Also, you got to mention Jack Hughes in New Jersey. If the Devils find a way to make the playoffs, Jack Hughes could easily be the target for the Hart Trophy. The Devils have had somewhat of a rough beginning here, but Jack Hughes has been their best player far and away, and if they're going to make the playoffs, it's going to be on his back. So Jack Hughes is another name I look for, and then obviously Connor McDavid is one that you have to bring up at all times, right? Because the Oilers, just like Jack Hughes and the Devils, didn't have the best start, but McDavid has really turned it on here as of late, and the Oilers are starting to turn things in the right direction, and if they make the playoffs and go on a run, it could be Connor McDavid's trophy again.
Yeah, that Hart Trophy race will be interesting as we move throughout the season. Johnny, I want to move on to the Islanders. Let's talk about them. They've been playing some solid hockey lately, collecting 17 points in their last 19 games, and now they sit in second place in the Metropolitan Division. There's a lot of season left, but should Islander fans start dreaming of home ice advantage in the first round of the playoffs?
Well, I think Islander fans are just like Ranger fans, and obviously all New York fans are kind of the same, where you don't want to get too hopeful, right? Because I think every year we kind of, dream, and we just somewhat get disappointed no matter what sport or what team you root for in New York. But with that said, the Islanders have certainly earned a lot of respect throughout the league. It's been interesting this year. Their offense is there, but the defense hasn't been as consistent in past years. Like, the last 3 seasons, I think everyone talked about how well the Islanders played defensively, but just couldn't find that goal scoring. And in the last month, they're the highest scoring team in the NHL, but the defense hasn't been as good as the offense has. You got to give credit to Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat, though. Those two have been lights out in the last month, going back to November 27th. Bo Horvat's the 4th highest scorer in the NHL. Matt Barzal is the 7th highest scorer. And then you got to throw in Noah Dobson, who we're going to talk about here in a second. But Noah Dobson has been incredible as well, earning their respect around the NHL, becoming a household name in the league. He's 10th in scoring in the last month.
Yeah, great production from all those guys. You mentioned Dobson. Got to talk about him, right? Because he's been playing tough minutes on the ice all season long. Should Dobson be a legit contender for the Norris Trophy? Is that the way you see that, Johnny?
I think Dobson has certainly put his name in the conversation. He's third amongst defensemen in scoring right now, and he's 16th in block shots. So he's doing a little bit of everything. He's producing. He's being the quarterback on the power play, which has been clicking at an all-time rate for the Islanders. And he's also been reliable in the defensive zone. So Dobson is arguably the most important piece on this team right now, outside of Ilya Sorokin and even Matt Barzal and Bo Horvat. I'd say Dobson right now has been so important for this team that all the success they're finding. But then again, as far as the Norris conversation goes, I think right now Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar are just in their own level. I don't know if Dobson is there. He certainly has earned the respect to be in that mix, but Quinn Hughes right now to me is the front runner by far. I mean, you look at the previous Norris Trophy winner, Erik Karlsson, on a really bad San Jose Sharks team last year. He was a -27. This year, Quinn Hughes has been producing at an incredible rate. He's got 44 points, and he's a +28, which is absolutely outstanding. So Quinn Hughes to me right now is the front runner for, every perfect reason.
Yeah, no doubt. Dobson, as we said, though he might not be the front runner, having a tremendous season there for the Islanders. Defenseman has been playing really well. Let's go over to the Devils, Johnny. Now, you know this. They had heightened expectations after reaching the second round of the playoffs last season. They currently sit in 6th place in the Metro. Are the Devils one of the biggest disappointments in the league this season, and why aren't they clicking as well as they were last season?
As happy as it is to hear you say that, because I said the Devils were going to have a disappointing year in the summer, and a lot of people gave me crap for it, but with expectation comes, an opportunity to disappoint. And the Devils this year had very high expectations after their really good season last year, franchise records being set. They go to the second round. But again, the Devils team last year got all the stops. They got good defense. They got everything they needed in order to win hockey games. Right now they're getting the offense, but they're not getting the stops that they need from Vitek Vanacek and Akira Schmid. So for the Devils right now, they are clicking in certain ways, and they are a good hockey team. But to be a great hockey team, they're going to need just a little bit more from their back end and a little bit more from their goaltending. I don't think they're in trouble. The Devils have so much talent on their roster. I mean, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Tyler Toffoli, Timo Meier. A huge loss to their back end has been Dougie Hamilton. They've missed him a lot. But this team, if they do put it together, which I do think they will eventually get to, they're going to be a very dangerous team come playoff time. But the start of the year has certainly been a disappointment.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing start thus far for New Jersey. And New Jersey, they've struggled defensively thus far this season. Do you see the team looking to add defensive help via the trade market by the deadline? And who do you think could help this Devils roster?
So I think the narrative around the Devils is that they need to trade for a goalie, but I couldn't disagree more. I do think goaltending is a bit of a problem for them. But if you look at the previous Cup winners, they didn't have elite goaltending. What they had was really strong blue lines that played well in front of their netminders. So the Devils right now, to your point, Dexter, they have to go out and find some elite defensive defensemen. And two guys that come to mind are Chris Tanev in Calgary and Alec Martinez in Vegas, the previous Stanley Cup winners. Alec Martinez has now won 3 Stanley Cups. He's as good as a defensive defenseman get. And he's got 1 year left on his deal. He's 36 years old, so I doubt the Vegas Golden Knights are going to re-sign him. I think that's a really good spot for the Devils to go after. He's very reliable in his own end. He blocks shots, kill penalties. He does everything the Devils will need him to do. And then Chris Tanev is somewhat similar in that same realm. Tanev is 34 years old, so just 2 years younger, but they're both older guys in the last year of their deal that are very responsible in their own end. And the Devils, as much as they do need a save at a big time, they need to just play better in their own end in general, because you see teams like the Edmonton Oilers come in and the Devils look a little bit lost in their own zone. But this team, again, if they find that consistent defense, it's going to lead to even more offense and make them just a completely I don't even know the word, just like as strong as they could possibly be, because the Devils really are, as far as these 3 teams that we've talked about, on paper, they could have the most potential to be the best team of all 3.
That's an interesting statement there, too, because they do have the talent there, and we will see if they're able to put it together for the rest of this season. We'll see how it all shakes out. We're about at the halfway mark of the NHL season. You know who's going to be on top of it. That'll be Jonny Lazarus for VSIN, doing such a great job covering the league. Johnny, good to see you. If I don't see you before then, Happy New Year. Be well, be safe, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Dexter. Same to you. Happy holidays.